and welcome to Healthy Living in Lowell. I'm Kate Elkins from the Lowell Health Department, and this is a production of the Lowell Health Department, but with many of its community partners. I am so excited for today's show. I've been waiting to do this one because it is about us ladies and about gals, and what better guest to have than the amazing Carol Mix. So welcome to Healthy Living in Lowell.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, well, I'm just so glad that you could come on the show and take the time out of your busy schedule to join us and to tell our viewers a little bit about what you do. And we're going to get into it, but I'm really excited because it's something that I think people don't know a lot about and can really help them and improve their lives. So, Carol, tell me about you. Tell me about what you do. Let's just dive right in.
Sure thing. So I am a life coach and a business strategist, and typically I help women entrepreneurs or busy professionals that are completely overwhelmed with their life and all the things, right? And I've been an entrepreneur for 24 years right here in the city of Lowell. So that has been fabulous as well, but it really gives me a bird's eye view into the struggles that working women have, women entrepreneurs, and all that we have to carry and what we're doing and putting out into the world.
Now, you don't only work with women, but we're going to talk more about ladies today. But you tell me about who you mostly work with.
Absolutely. So entrepreneurs, emerging entrepreneurs, people that are just coming out, we have all these ideas.
Yeah.
Where do we start? That's one of the places where I start to work. Busy professionals, so people that are in corporate and they're trying to juggle, their career, their home life, their own body, these sorts of things.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow.
Most people.
Amazing. So maybe some people have heard of this term, life coach. Can you elaborate a little bit more about what it is and how is it different from a therapist? Is it connected at all? Tell me.
Sure, it can be. It's funny. I've thought of this before. I've been asked the question before, and there are different types of therapists and there are different types of coaches. For me, I specialize in strategic intervention. So where you're struggling, where you're stuck, I come in and help you right there. What is it that you want, and how do we get you there? A lot of times with therapy, you're going way back and you're looking at how did I get to this spot and kind of looking at things in the past. Here with coaching, and typically with coaching, it's already inside of you. We're just asking the right questions and we're guiding. For me with strategic intervention, I'm coming in with strategy. How do we make a plan? How do we move forward? So that's the part that I love most about the type of coaching that I do, because there is a logical piece to it. Let's take a little bit of the emotion out and think, and then how are we going to move forward? A lot of times when people are coming to me, they're in a super emotional state or they're shut down. Like, I don't even know where to begin. There's too much going on, so I'm going to do nothing, which is still a choice.
Right. Oh my gosh. But just hearing you talk about just that term coach, I mean, it gives you that sense of support, of almost helping you to become empowered. Because when you think about coach in terms of like a sports team, right, it's they're not on there playing, they're giving you the tools and equipping you and helping you do what you need to do.
Exactly.
Right? Is that a good way of
That's a great way, and thank you for that.
I just pulled that out of nowhere, but thanks.
You certainly did. But it's really about having the skills, the strategies, and the tools to get to where you want to go. And a lot of times we expect that we should know, but we've never been to this point, where we're struggling. We've never been in this crisis. How do we get through it? And of course we don't know, and a lot of times we spend too much time there beating ourselves up and wondering, how am I going to get through it? We ask our friends, we're looking online, we're looking all outside of ourselves. So with my type of coaching, it's bringing you back into center to the things you already know, helping you to clear up all that clutter that you're struggling with, and then give you the tools while you're thinking and you're able to use them.
I already love it. I just feel like I'm already empowered talking to you. This is always how you make me feel, so thank you. But how did you personally, though, become interested in this field? You said you were an entrepreneur yourself, and then have shifted into helping others. So when did that come about?
When everything fell apart.
Okay.
As it
Makes
does,
sense.
right? As it does, when life fell apart. And funny enough, one of my children was really struggling, and we were looking for a therapist for him, and we couldn't find one, or it was at least a 30-day wait for a kid in crisis. I'm like, this is crazy. And then by the time we would find somebody, it would really be this older guy in socks and sandals, and this teen was like, I'm not talking to him.
Right.
So it was this shut down thing, you know?
Yeah.
And as we went down the path, we did find somebody, they got the help that they needed, and everything was fine, but I was struggling myself. And as a working mom and trying to manage my business, my marriage, my own body, all of these things were falling apart for me. And I wanted something, and I wanted it like this because that's how I want it.
Of course.
You know, and we need it that way when everything feels like there's a fire everywhere you go. So when I started to look at coaching, I was like, wow, this is really interesting. And then again, going for the strategic intervention, it's how I thought. I naturally think strategically. So it was really, it spoke to the way that I learn, and so it was super, super helpful. So, and as I started talking to other people, other moms that were out there working, we're all going through the same exact thing. And it's like, I have the answer because I figured out this piece. Awesome, you know,
Right.
So it just grew into another business for me naturally.
And so it must be so different, because essentially you're helping people. It must feel good too. Has it provided a sense of fulfillment in this role?
Hugely. And I always learn something about me. And I feel like we are, as women, we learn so much from each other.
Yes.
There's a lot, you know, I can do all the training in the world. You can do all the training in the world. But through conversation and just seeing ourselves or hearing something you say, and I'm like, oh, me too. You know, we just learn so much from each other. So, yes, so fulfilling too, to see somebody that was stuck, or, you know, I've had several people have a dream and they wanted to step forward with the dream but didn't know how. So to slow them down and show them the sequential steps that it takes, and then to have this business come to life, and now they're supporting themselves with the business that they've created, and it just starts at a small dream that they were too afraid to step forward on.
Right.
They didn't know where to begin. So that has been so gratifying, and now I'm a patron of their businesses, you know, so it's so cool.
I love it. It really comes full circle.
Totally.
I love it. So let's dive in and talk about us ladies. When this episode airs, it's Women's Month. So, I mean, what better month to talk about women? So why we don't often do this thing that I'm going to ask about. We don't take care of ourselves as women. Why is that? And why do we need to start? And I love how you said your career, your family, your body, even your body. Like, I never, you know, for me, I don't think about those things. So why is it so important for us to be taking care of ourselves?
The big why. Because we are here and we're humans and we deserve it. First answer, right?
Right.
But, you know, we have so much that we're responsible for now as women. And it's the physical that we're responsible for, but it's also the emotional load. You know, all the details of life, the birthday parties, where they're going, where they need to be, all the things, you know, and it is so easy to be consumed by everything that everyone else needs, until suddenly you find that you're on that back burner and you're feeling resentful or sad or whatever feeling that you're feeling. And it is so critical to take the time. And it's hard because I think a lot of times we do have a lot of pressure. Pressure for the way that our families are set up nowadays. Most families are two people working, you know, and we still have that. We have our own personal desire to do something as well. I've been a stay-at-home mom, and I have owned my own businesses, and I have worked for somebody else. So I understand all of these spaces, you know. So I have found it is always come down to I was so busy doing for everyone else except for myself,
Right.
and my body would speak up really loud, knock me back, have a seat, and that's where the work would begin. You know,
Wow.
so now it's like, oh, I no longer do that.
Yes, and I think that's one thing that I've learned over the years, and maybe it is stepping into that that parenting role of now all of a sudden there is no time for you, the individual, and that resentment. I think that is a real feeling because we crave that. We crave time for ourselves, or things that make us happy. Things that, I love the word deserve. Things that we shouldn't feel bad about deserving.
Sure.
You know. So I think women, hopefully we're getting on that boat, right? As women, we're understanding we need to take time for us or do something for us in order to be able to be successful in the rest of our life.
And I think we know it here, but it gets covered over with all the things.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of times it's ourselves. It's really our own
Yeah.
expectations, sorry.
Yeah,
You know,
it
but I
is.
had to really realize that in order for me to make the changes or to help my clients make the changes, it truly is mindset. It's the
Yeah.
mindset and then the expectations, right? And that's
Right.
a whole other show.
Yeah, no, I know. And my next question is what does hinder women? What are some of the big things that you hear from women in not either making time for themselves, making time for their dreams? What are some of the things that clients tell you are holding them back?
Well, what's holding them back is perception, right? The way we perceive things. I don't have time. I just don't have time.
Right.
No, you just haven't prioritized the time. That's
Ooh.
all. And that one hurts,
Yeah,
right?
that
But
hurt, yeah.
that's what a coach is going to do. You
Right.
know, I'm not your friend.
Yeah,
I
right,
want to
right.
love on you, but my job is to help you see the things that you can't see. You know, so a lot of times we have that expectation or perception of things. You know, we have this one idea, blinders on, this is the way it needs to be done.
Right.
When in actuality, if we step back a little bit, it's like, oh, you know what, I can release that. I don't need to control it.
Yeah.
Control is a big piece because when life feels out of control, we want to grip tighter, and that's where our bodies respond.
Yep.
You know, and you know, migraines, anxiety, panic, all of those things. So all of these things combined, if we're not present and if we're not paying attention, this is where we can just get swept
Yeah.
away. There's so much, and I think, you know, and I don't want to blame social media at all, but it is a part of our lives now,
Right,
and it is
right.
something that we need to look at. So when we're looking at it and there's that comparison, you know, and you see, how do you not feel it sometimes?
Right.
And that's really hard, you
Right.
know, and we put the mask on, I'm fine, I've got this, but underneath it's like, oh,
Yeah.
it's hard,
Yeah.
you know, so that was a long way to say it's ourselves, our mindsets, and
Yeah.
how, you know, sometimes as well, limited coping skills, you
Right.
know, when you
Right.
you only know what you know, and it only works for so long until you go and learn something new, and
Yeah.
that's where the hope is.
That's so true, and I think I loved how you said a lot of times we say we don't have the time, but that we haven't. It's really that mindset of it's just not, we're not making it a priority.
That's it.
And I always try, for myself personally, try to think of, you know, just the way we prioritize things is going to look really different for woman A versus woman B, and that's okay. And just reminding that that people have different priorities. And so I love that you brought that up too, because I think it is a good way of looking at things. And then, you know, we'll talk about mindset and shifting in perspective and all that, but it is, women are faced with a lot, and so it can seem overwhelming. So I love that's why a coach like yourself lends that support and helps them kind of get out of that maybe more negative mindset or not prioritize mindset and get them into the place they want to be. So
It's funny.
it's great.
I had a client one time, we sat down with her calendar, and I'm like, okay, it's not going to happen if you don't have it on the calendar. It's just not.
Right.
So as we looked at her calendar, she's looking at she had it color-coded, which was so fun. I love everything color-coded and organized. And
Yeah.
she had everything. She had all these kids that needed to be in various places. She looked up and she's like, 30 days from now, I can do that for me. It was a half hour we were scheduling. We were scheduling 30 minutes. She said,
Wow.
30 days. And then she looked back down and she's like, I got it. This is why I'm stressed out. This is why I'm rigid and angry, you know. And I was like, okay, girl, you got it. Now, where can we weave it in? So it was just so eye-opening for her, but she needed to see it in her own handwriting. And that's the way it goes, you know.
Oh my gosh. 30 days out. She's running 30 days out for any appointments.
She's like, 30 days I can schedule an
it's
appointment
worse than a
with
doctor's
me.
office,
I was like, girl, how about tomorrow morning?
Oh my gosh. So it's a great example, though. I mean, it is a reality for a lot of women that are trying to juggle family, career, gym, fitness, nutrition, you know, all those things. But what's been some of the most surprising things you found in working with women? I mean, what are
the most surprising is how resourceful we are and how resilient we are. The more women that I talk to, our stories are incredible. We have such great stories that we think nothing of. We're so used to doing it. So we just kind of suck it up and do it and just keep doing it. And when you finally sit and you just listen to a woman, and you listen to where she's been, how she got to where she is, and where she really wants to go, we're so amazing. So it's every single time, because every story is different. We're all individual with individual experiences. So it's really cool to just see where a person is coming from and understand why they do things the way that they do, and then what it is that they hope for and what they're reaching for. So amazing.
We are resilient, us ladies. I mean, I'm telling you, the women that I've met in my career and in Lowell and through your work, I mean, I too am always like, wow, we're doing so much, and we never express it. So you're I mean, you've been doing this a long time. So we've talked so far about what coaching is, what women are kind of pressures are under, and what the landscape is. And then we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, talk about what we can do, now the action, right? So, and that's what I'm really excited to find out about. So join us in a moment, and we'll be right back to talk about more coaching with Carol Mix. Welcome back to Healthy Living in Lowell. I'm here with Carol Mix, and we've just learned a little bit about what women are stressed out about, I guess, what they're dealing with. I mean, I hate the word stressed out, but really that's what we are finding is women are overwhelmed. But the good news is, and I'm looking at you, Carol, the good news is there's people like you, people that help us as women or any busy person. You said you work with entrepreneurs and professionals, all these people, to really step out of that mindset and step into a place that we want to be. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the action. You said strategic intervention. That makes me feel empowered. Those words together make me feel excited. I need some strategic intervention. So tell me, if you could break it down, I know there's many things that women can do to help get to where they want to be, but what are some of the big ones that you, when you work with women?
So when I work with women or men, it's really about getting clear on what you want. A lot of times we are super clear on what we don't want in life. I'm done with this. I'm tired of this. So we can name it like that, what we don't want in life. But when asked, what do you want? I'm like, I don't know. I haven't thought about that. So it's creating the time and space to get clear on what it is that you want. And then the next step would be to structure it up. And a lot of times we're not thinking about our habits at all. We're on autopilot. Just get me to the next thing. I'm trying to survive this day. Let me get through it. So thinking about your habits and what they are, putting some structure underneath you. And then the third step would be accountability. Because as adults, we're not accountable to anything. Nobody knows if I haven't reconciled my books at all. Nobody knows. So as a business owner, if I blow that off because the sun came out and I want to go to the beach over and over, and then it's November and I'm ticky-tacking away like a crazy woman trying to get it done, nobody knows. So if I'm not accountable to someone, that says, you know what, here's what you can't see, here's the next steps, then I'm going to keep staying in the spin and just surviving. And that's just no way to live.
So tell me them again. So get clear. So I love that. So often, you're right, it's so easy to say what we don't want or what we don't like, but getting clear about, explain it again.
So getting clear on what you do want in life. You know, and a lot of times there's so many areas of our life that feel like it's on fire. Where do we start? You know, so a lot of times what I do is help people to center in their bodies first. Because a lot of times we're looking for the answers out here. And we're chasing after these things that we're never going to catch, you know, but when you center yourself in here, you always got you, right?
Yeah, so does that, so when you're working with clients, does that sometimes take a long time? Are people just,
sometimes,
when, you know, like, oh, I never thought about it that way, and or are some people, they know exactly what they want?
It varies. It really does. But what I like to do is take a temperature of all areas of your life. Because sometimes there are things that you're missing that you are already doing and you don't know it, which is really great. Spirituality is one of those places. You know, I had somebody one time, I'm really missing my spirituality. I feel like I gave up on it. And then come to find out, she was riding horses. She loved the horses. And I was like, you know what? That's spiritual. And she's like, it is. I've been doing it all along. So it was a huge win, but it was a shift for her. It doesn't necessarily have to be this structured religious thing in order to feel that connection that we so desire, you know? So when she clued into that, it was a release for herself, but also she could step into her power and say, I can do more of that if I want to feel that way. You know, so getting clear on what you want is super important. A lot of times we'll stay stuck because we're super clear on what we don't want. So we just end up complaining and harboring all of those feelings that are not productive at all. They keep you stuck. Go into the space where you're thinking and dreaming. Identify what you want. The second part would be, what are your habits? How are you structuring things up in your life? Because if you don't have some sort of structure to work from, you're going to stay on autopilot doing all the things that are pulling you back. Snooze button is one of those.
Oh gosh.
So, girl,
oh gosh.
Did I just catch you? I'm kidding.
Ooh.
But the snooze, for so many people, they're resisting getting into this day. We have this one day that we're here to live, and we're fighting it off 6 or 7 times, making ourselves late and we're tired, when all we really want is comfort, you know? So the battle with the snooze is one that 9 out of 10 times I'm helping you to break that. Just that habit alone, it brings in so much space and time into your life. So we're so time deprived, but the things that we're doing that keep us distracted and, you know, with not enough time, the time is right there. You know?
So true.
So
get clear on my goals. Obviously I'm using this selfishly. So get clear on my goals. Look at my assess my habits. Look at what I'm doing day to day. And was there a third one?
Third one is accountability.
Oh, and have the accountability.
Because a lot of times we're expecting our partner to be that accountability. That's not their job. It's not. We're expecting our friends to do that, our mom. you know, there are times, and they're a great support. All of those people are a great support in our lives, but their job isn't to look for the blind spots. Their job isn't to see the things that I can't see. A lot of times, and especially in the friend zone, we're commiserating, right? So we call like, and we're spending time just spinning in that circle, talking about it, but not getting into intentional action. And that's where, you know, I see a lot of people say, oh, I'll just get an accountability buddy. And the minute that it's too cold, or your friend's too tired, or your friend doesn't want to go, or whatever excuse she's made up, you're like, oh, good, girl, I don't have to get out of bed. My friend isn't walking today. No.
No, that's so true.
It is. And we all do it. I've done it, you know, but I don't do it anymore because I know.
Wow. Okay, so I've got it. I've got those 3 things. And so some of the clients that you're working with right now or have in the past, tell us about the results. Tell us about, like you mentioned a couple stories, but what are some of the things that have been really exciting for you to see?
Well, and it has a broad range. If I'm working with somebody on their business, I've just had somebody have this idea of wanting to communicate with their Facebook community, get the message out there about what they're doing and how they can help their health. And just some simple shifts in how she was communicating, giving it to the audience in the way that they receive it instead of the way she wants to put it out, had shifted, from getting no calls and booking no discovery sessions to second video, getting that call that's saying, oh, I heard what you're saying now, because we broke it down into bite-sized chunks, the way people need to take in the information. So seeing that shift for her was so exciting, because she's like, it would have been something that potentially she would have given up and said, this doesn't work. Why am I bothering?
Yeah.
But instead, she was getting excited to learn the information to give to the people. And the people were excited because they needed the information and they were consuming it the way that they do. So that's exciting. All the way to, I had somebody who was super disconnected from their home, from their body, from their habits, because they're so busy working 60 hours a week. And when we slowed them down enough to get present daily and to make intention in various areas of their life, I'm now seeing habits develop, which are great because they're coming in for presence with intention, but also they're starting to see where their bad habits are. So where are the blind spots that they couldn't see, and they're stopping it because they're like, oh, I have control over this. I'm not doing this anymore. So it's so exciting. It's not that I'm going to stand over you going, don't do that. Kate, don't do that. But when you realize on your own and you have the power to change it, that is so empowering. You know, that's the exciting part. So it's so great to see somebody shift their habits, even for journaling, and the accountability part is they are sharing it. So to see it start out with just a couple of lines, and now it's I'm relaxed and I'm writing this out, and they're enjoying their space and time. They're connecting with themselves before even getting into the day. And you know what? That doesn't take hours, and that's what we think sometimes. It takes 15 minutes. And if you can't find 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes at night, and you're up for 17 hours, most of us are, what are we doing?
No, it's so true. It's so true. I was just thinking about, it's as if you're like a consultant, right, for our for a life and what people want to see, and it's so cool that's something that's available to us busy women trying to do it all, who really need that support and that partnership with someone that, like you said, isn't going to tell them what to do, but help them find what it is they even want to do and go through those steps together. So I think it's so powerful, the work that you do.
Thank you.
Anything that we forgot to mention? Anything that viewers must hear before we share how folks can get in touch with you?
I think that at this point, and after all of the years that I've been an entrepreneur and all the entrepreneurs and busy people that I've worked with, I'm finding that we're in survival mode. Most of us are just barely surviving. We're barely surviving in our bodies, in our marriages, in our relationships that mean the most, in our businesses. And we have this one life to live, and we're not meant to just survive it. There's so much more. And that's just making a decision. It's really about the decisions that we make. So don't just survive this one life. It's a beautiful life, and why not be excited about it?
My gosh, I just got goosebumps. Carol, you always make me feel so empowered. I'm going to walk out of here feeling like I can take over the world. You're so right. So if folks want to get in touch with you and find out more about Coach Carol Mix and how they can work with you, give us the details.
Sure. There's various ways. Through my website, and it's my name, it's carolmix.com. I can be reached by phone or text, and that is 978-495-2926. I love to connect on Facebook. So if anybody's on Facebook, it's just my name, Carol Mix, and it's CarylMix.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show. Hopefully we can have you back in some capacity. We'll talk more about women and all the good things you do. So Join us next month as we talk more about healthy living in Lowell and how we can all live a little healthier.